Hello and welcome to Riffle Shuffle and Roll. My name is Mark, and today I'm going to teach you how to play Pineapple Open Face Chinese Poker, or Pineapple OFC, or Pineapple. This is not to be confused with the version of Texas Hold'em that is called Pineapple. That is a very different game that I've never played. But I've played this, and I love it, and I want to teach you how to play it. This is a tableau building game where players will build 3 separate poker hands. There are rules governing how those hands need to be built. Then at the end of the round, players will compare hands and payments will be made based on who won. There are also bonus points earned for the strength of your hand. So the stronger your hand, the more bonus points you might earn. This is my first video in a 6-part series where I'm highlighting games that I love in 6 different game types. Today's game type is tableau building, not poker. I have a different game for that. Before we dive in and learn how to play, I have a link down in the description. I just want to tell you this link will lead you directly to a printable playmat that will help guide you during the game. It tells you where to place your cards, and it tells you how many points are earned for poker hand types. And it also tells you poker hand ranking. So it gives you the basic information that you need to know in order to play the game. All right, let's dive in and learn how to play. Now, the object of each round is to build 3 poker hands: a bottom hand, a middle hand, and a top hand. The bottom hand must be stronger than the middle, and the middle must be stronger than the top. If you fail to do that, you foul, and you will not score any points for the round. You automatically lose, and depending on how you're playing, you'll either be making payments to your opponents, or you just won't be earning any points. Let's start with the 2-player example. Dealer shuffles and then deals their opponent 5 cards. So we're going to play that blue as the dealer. I'll be blue. My opponent is red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The opponent picks up those 5 cards, and then they place them anywhere they want on the layout. For this one, we'll go ahead, we'll throw a queen up top, and we'll do our 9, 10, jack, build our straight there, and we'll put the 4 in the middle. Once they have their cards placed, you, the dealer, give yourself 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you place. So we'll go with our 6s down here. We'll go this, jack, 10, 2. Now that the cards are placed, dealer, give your opponent 3 more cards. 1, 2, 3. They will keep 2 and discard 1. All right, so we're going to have them keep going for that straight, 7, 9, 10, jack. So now they need an 8. And we'll have them throw the 6 here. Maybe we can get another straight. And then they will discard the jack face down. Dealer gets 3 cards. Keep 2, discard 1. So we'll put our 2 up there for the pair. We'll keep the ace here. And from that point, dealer gives their opponent 3 more cards. They'll keep 2, discard 1. Then they give themselves 3, keep 2, discard 1. And you'll keep doing that until you have a complete layout. So that'll be 13 cards, 5 in the bottom row, 5 in the middle, and 3 up top. Let's go ahead and jump to that point. Here we are at the end of the round. Each player has 13 cards, 5, 5, and 3. And now it is time to compare. So let's look at the red player first. At the bottom, all they have is a jack high. They never got that 8 that they needed, and they failed to get the straight. In the middle row, they've got 3 of a kind with 3 4s, and they got a pair of kings at the top. Since their bottom hand is actually the weakest hand, it's weaker than their middle hand, the red player has fouled out for the round. That means they automatically lose. So they're not going to earn any points. Let's check out the blue player. They have 2 pair at the bottom, a pair of 6s and a pair of 9s. They've got a pair of 10s in the middle hand and a pair of 2s in the top hand. So they did not foul because it goes strongest at the bottom, middle in the middle, and weakest at the top. First, let's treat this as if we're playing for money or a payment game. You would normally play $1 a point, and then you would figure out your scores by comparing rows. Well, this is easy. Since the red player fouled, the blue player won all 3 rows. That's called a scoop. And they would get 2 points per row for doing that. So if a player wins all 3 rows, they get 2 points per row. Now let's change this example so that way red didn't foul and there's a bit more competition going on. All right, I've changed the cards up a little bit. Red has not fouled and the point comparison is going to be a little more competitive. So now red has their straight at the bottom, a pair of kings in the middle, and a pair of 4s at the top. Let's compare rows. So the straight beats blue's 2 pair. So that is a point to red. The pair of kings beats blue's pair of 10s. So that's a second point to red. But blue wins the top hand. A pair of 7s beats a pair of 4s. So that is a point to blue. So far we have 2 points to red and 1 point to blue. Now that you understand the basic point system, it's time to learn about bonus points. Not only do you earn points for winning a row, but you'll earn points for the type of hand you have in that row. So red won the bottom row with a straight, so that is 1 point from blue. But they also get a bonus of 2 points for having a straight at the bottom. So blue actually owes them 3 points for the bottom row. They have a pair of kings in the middle. They won with the pair of kings, but that does not earn them any bonus points. And then blue wins with a pair of 7s in the top row, and that actually earns them 2 bonus points. So instead of winning 1 point for the top row, they'd win 3. Now here's where the payments get a little tricky, unless you're playing on an app that calculates it all for you. But red gets 3 points for the bottom row, 1 point for the middle row, that's 4. And then blue gets 3 points for the top row. So find the difference. 4 minus 3. Blue owes red 1 point. And what if you don't want to play for money? Well, instead of figuring out payments, you simply earn the points that you've earned for the round and you play to a total score. For example, you could play to a score of 100 and you would continue to play rounds until a player reaches 100 points or more. So for this example, player red earned 4 points for the round and player blue earned 3 points for the round. At the end of this round, the score would be 4-3. Setup and play for a 3-player game is similar to a 2-player game. It just gets a little hairier in the scorekeeping phase. So let's go ahead and quickly deal through a 3-player game. And we're going to say that green is dealer. So they will first deal 5 to red, just like in a regular game. Red then places those 5 cards. After they've placed their 5 cards, the next player gets their 5. So blue gets 5, 4, 5. And they place those. And then the dealer gives themselves 5 cards and they place them. 3, 4, 5. Then you begin with the rounds of 3. So red gets their 3 cards. They choose 2 and discard 1. And then you would do that to blue and you would do that with green. And you would continue to play rounds like that until each player has 13 cards. 5 in the bottom, 5 in the middle, and 3 at the top. So let's go ahead and fast forward to the end of the round. Now, one of the great things about this game is that it can be played just as well with 3 players as it can with 2. But the point payment system does get a little more convoluted because if you've lost to both of the other players, you're going to be paying both of the other players. So there will be a series of payments going in all directions. Let's see what it looks like here. So let's first see if anybody fouled. So red has flush, pair of 10s, ace high. They're good. Blue has a straight, 2 pair, king pair. They're good. And then we've got a 2 pair at the bottom for green, 3 of a kind in the middle, and a pair of queens at the top. Green has fouled. So that means 2 things. First, they're not going to earn any points. Second, that means they are going to be making payments to both opponents this round. First, red wins the bottom hand with a flush. So they are earning 1 point from blue and green. Both players pay them. Let's look for bonuses. Flush in the bottom hand is 4. So that means they are getting 5 points from each player for their bottom hand. Next, we go to the middle hand. And our 2 pair here wins it. So blue gets paid by red and green. And is there a bonus for 2 pair in the middle? Nope. They get 2 points, 1 from each player. And then green pays red because green lost to red. Next, we go to the top row, and our pair of kings wins the top row. So both players pay blue 1 point, plus a bonus of 8. So each player pays blue 9 points for the top row, and then green pays red 1 point for the top row. So let's keep in mind, even if you weren't the best hand for the row, you would still earn bonus points from the players you beat. So let's say in this situation, the pair of kings were up here, and then let's say that red had a pair of 8s. Well, that means green would pay red for losing the row and the bonus for the pair of 8s, which is 3. So green would actually owe red 4 points there. Like I said, it gets a little convoluted. I think if you just take the payments a step at a time, you can do it and the game will run pretty smoothly. I say just trade payments. Don't worry about doing the math where like, well, I owe you 5, but you owe me 6. So I actually don't owe you anything. That kind of deal. Don't do it that way. Just go through one step at a time and make the payments, and then it's all out. It all evens out in the end anyways. Again, if you're just playing for points, though, to a total score, no money, then it gets a little easier, in my opinion. You just earn the points you earn and add it to your score. Now, in a 3-player game, we would still have red earning 4 bonus points for the flush, plus 2, 1 from each player. So they're still getting 6 points added to their score. They still get 7. They still get 1 point from green for the middle row. And they still get 1 point from green for the top row. So if you're playing just to a total score, red earned 8 points that round. Blue still earns 1 point for the bottom round from green for beating green. They still get 1 point for the middle row for beating green. And they still get 10 points for the top row. So they actually come out of this round with 12 points. So as you can see, your hand value is quite important. You not only need to win the row, but you need to have a good hand to really earn those bonus points. So now we have blue earning more points than red because of those 2 kings at the top. And they were risky there. They went for the pair of kings. They needed to beat that, and you'll see that that's actually kind of hard to do. So high risk, high reward. And of course, since green fouled, they earn nothing. And with that, you understand all the basics for the game. You know how to deal the game, build your hands, and score your hands. But there's still one more layer to this delicious onion, and that is Fantasyland. And believe me, you want to be in Fantasyland. If a player ends the round with a pair of queens or better in their top hand, and they do not foul, they will get to go into Fantasyland. Fantasyland is essentially an extension of the current round. So normally, you would pass the deal after each round. So if I were the dealer and the round came to an end, I would collect the cards and then pass the deal to the opposite player, or to the left in a 3-player game. If a player enters Fantasyland, the deal does not change. All the cards are collected, and anybody who is in Fantasyland is dealt 14 cards all up front. From those 14 cards, they will place 13 and discard 1. These cards need to be placed face down, and they will be revealed at the end of the round. Now, for all the other players at the table who are not in Fantasyland, you will deal like normal. So you will give them their 5 starting cards, and then once they have placed those, you will give them 3, discard 1, 3, discard 1, and so on until they each have their 13 cards showing. Then the player who was dealt 14 will reveal their placed cards. So you do get an advantage when you are dealt those 14 cards up front. You are getting to see your entire hand, so you're able to build it with all of the knowledge you're going to get for the round up front. And once you're in Fantasyland, you're actually able to stay in Fantasyland as long as you can get 3 of a kind in the top row without fouling, or 4 of a kind in the bottom row. Some people play that you can also get a full house in the middle row and qualify to stay in Fantasyland. But I think you'll find that a lot of places or a lot of people will not play with that rule. But if for a friendlier game, you can throw in the full house there for the middle row as well. So here our player gets to stay in Fantasyland. They have their flush at the bottom, 3 aces in their middle hand, and then 3 5s up top. So they got their 3 of a kind up top. That qualifies them to stay in Fantasyland. Now, what is the implication of this? Other than that bit of an advantage you get when you're dealt all of your cards up front, if you're playing a money game, people are not allowed to stand up or leave the table while a player or players are in Fantasyland. So that keeps all the butts in the seats until there are no more players in Fantasyland. Then if they want to bow out of the game, they can. All right, that was how to play Pineapple OFC. Yes, there is a lot going on with the scoring, but in my mind, it's just easier and maybe a little bit more approachable to play the game where you just earn the points you've earned for the hands you've built and the hands you've won, and then the first person to reach a certain score wins. I think playing to 100 points for beginners is a perfect scoring threshold, and if you get better and you start to build stronger hands and earn way more bonus points, you can just extend that winning score to 200 or 300 or 500. Just base that score on what's appropriate for your player group. There are not that many apps or ways to play this online for free. I have found one way to play it for money, or actual money, and I have not tried it. I just haven't really dipped my toes into online gambling, and I'm not really in a hurry to do that. But I have found one app that you can play for free, and you are rewarded with free credits every day just for signing in to play. You can collect them, and I've never had a problem playing games, especially if you win. And I win a lot. Maybe I should play for money. Either way, I got a link to that app down below. I'm not sure if it's available for Google people, but it's definitely available for Apple people. If you found this video helpful or enjoyable and you would like to support me, the best thing you can do is give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment down below. You can let me know if you have any questions about the game. I'll do my best to answer them and help you. Or if you've got a game that you would like to see a video for, let me know in the comments. I've got a playlist of more card games for you right here. And if you would like to try some of the games that I've created, you can head over to riffleshuffleandroll.com. I'll link to that in the description as well. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep on playing.